Dominating everyone you play in College Football 26 basically requires you to know everything about the game, and me and you both know that's not the case for you. Luckily, in this video, I'm breaking down 5 secret tricks that only the top 1% of players have mastered here in College Football 26, and you're going to have all of them mastered if you stay to watch the end. So don't skip out on anything I have for you, and let's jump right into it. The first secret trick I'm going to break down is actually a way to know what play is coming. Let me show you what I mean. Alright, so if we come here on offense, for example, and we look at these plays and we talk about RPOs, if you scroll through your entire playbook, what you're going to notice is on like 95% of plays where the halfback is the A button on Xbox or X on PlayStation, 95% of those plays, it's an RPO. So we go through all these RPOs, a lot of them he's A, sometimes he's going to be RB, right? So if we come into a play like this where we have, this is just what RPO alert bubble, right, for bunch open, we're going to notice that same pattern. The halfback is the A button. Now, that's great to know, but how would you take advantage of that on defense? Well, what you would do is you're going to know that an RPO is coming, because what you're going to do is you're going to press D-pad right twice, then you're going to click onto your linebacker by pressing A, and you're going to flick the right stick up. But this is going to open all of these, buttons of these receivers right here, and now you can see their icons, and now you know the halfback is the A button, and that confirms for you that it's an RPO. Now, I think you should certainly be, paying attention to what formations have RPOs and are RPO heavy, just based on playing the game a lot. But it's just like, once you know it's an RPO by doing that check, now you set up the RPO defense, right? Now you're going to man up who you think's going to be getting the ball. Now, from experience, right, most formations, it's a inside receiver or a slot receiver who's getting the ball in these RPOs, so you man him up and you shade underneath, right? And then you press RB and right stick up to pass commit. You don't actually need to man up the running back, you're just checking to see what button he is. But now we're going to stand about 4 yards over the guard, and we're going to loop around to stop that RPO in the backfield. So we look at the instant replay right here. Very easy defense, right? Because what we're able to do is we're able to shut down their pass, right? Easy, and then we're able to loop around and stop the run, all because we knew an RPO is coming before the snap. Again, what you're going to do right here is you're going to have a defensive alignment like this. This guy's in a hard flat, but he's going to get blocked, which is fine. That's why you need 2 guys. That's why you need to man your linebacker on this guy, pass commit your defense so that he's not looking into the backfield either. But again, we go through it again, D-pad right twice, then press A, right stick up. Now you see the icons of all of these guys. Now, I wouldn't man up the running back. There's no reason to. You just now know an RPO is coming. So you man up the slot receiver, you shade your coverage down, you pass commit your defense like this. And so now we come stand right here in this spot. We loop all the way around. And it's very important to still stop the run on RPOs, right? Because clearly, an RPO is coming. You can easily shut down the pass aspect. But the reality is they can still hand the ball off and pick up yards if you're not sound with your RPO run defense. So easily take away the pass. But we go through it one last time here just so that I can really do a great job stopping the run. It's all about gap shooting, standing 4 yards over the guard on the halfback side, taking the snap, and then dive tackling the ball carrier in the backfield just like this. So again, set up the defense to know an RPO is coming, man up the guy that you think's getting the ball with your linebacker, and then just loop around and make sure you're stopping not only the pass aspect but also the run aspect. So makes RPOs really inefficient. Alright, having RPO defense is fantastic, but if you're not using the right settings, your defense could be misaligned, or you could be throwing the ball to the wrong place. Let me show you 2 secret settings you need to be using right now. Alright, so first we're going to pause the game, we're going to come into options. You can actually do this on the main menu as well, but the first one I want to break down here, placement and accuracy, we call freeform. You need to make sure that you also have pass lead increase on small, because this extends the max amount of pass lead when precision passing on all pass types except for placement, right? And so obviously we have placement and accuracy, so we're good to go. I would also recommend having your reticle speed in between 5 and 20. I've played all year. I like mine on 8, but it's just all about getting that feel. If you feel like you're not able to get the ball exactly where you want you need to adjust it, maybe turning it up, to get that more flexibility or more control. But then if you feel like you're overthrowing everything, then maybe turn it down, to give you a little bit less control there. But what we're going to notice here with freeform is you always want to allow your receivers to catch the ball in stride. That honestly wasn't a bad rack animation, but it kind of slowed him down. You're going to need these passes to be out in front of these receivers, kind of like that right there, so that they don't have to slow their momentum down and you can really just continue to run after the catch. So obviously those passes are wide open, so it's really not the end of the world, but also understanding that, boom, now you take the snap again, and if you freeform that pass outside, you need to be able to get that ball away from that defender. I use freeform right there to get that ball away from that safety, and if we look at the replay, that's why we're able to catch it in stride and turn it into a huge gain, or a touchdown, right? Because this ball is led away from this man and we're able to score. I'm going to try to throw that same pass again, and maybe it might still be open, but when you just press that X button, you see how that defender now actually has a much better chance to break that pass up, because I wasn't holding the left trigger to freeform or holding the left stick to pass lead, right? So I just pressed X right here, and that's what too many of you guys are doing, and now this should be wide open. This is a great play and a great throw, but because you now allow the defender to make a play, he breaks on the ball and it's incomplete. So that's really what freeform is. You're holding left trigger and then aiming the left stick where you want the ball to go, and that's going to really allow you to put the ball in positions where only your receivers can get it and just allow you to score a touchdown just like that. I mean, that ball was basically led out of bounds as far away from the defender as possible. We're able to catch it and score. So not only does it help you catching passes in stride underneath, but also like tight coverage like this, we're able to put the ball where only our guy can get it and score a touchdown. So that's really the first secret setting you need to make sure you have on, especially having that pass lead increase on small. But next, we're going to come back into our game options right here, come back into settings, and this time we're going to scroll down to gameplay helpers, because gameplay helpers, we have this setting called defensive heat seeker assist. This is going to drastically help you stop the run when you are on defense, or really just tackle in general. It's not just on run plays like we see, for example, right here. I'm going to have them just throw this pass to A, and I'm going to come up, and you see right there where I'm able to basically dive tackle him, suction tackle his legs, and bring him to the ground. And that's going to be very, very important for you in all situations. Obviously, like I said, tackling in the open field, but especially on run plays is really when I think that this is the most valuable. So we're going to have them call it just trips tight end right here. You can actually, we have automatic run defense, right, from nickel double mug, right? So we're going to come to double mug. We're going to, retarget the offensive line right here, stand in that spot. We need to click on, and basically, my goodness, that is actually wild how he broke all those tackles. But you just need to click on and dive tackle the ball carrier in the backfield. Boom, click on, and now I'm able to basically suction tackle his legs. Sometimes it's his body, and bring him to the ground. You do not want to do this. You do not want to get into a tackle battle. Now, that time there was no tackle battle, but if you spam the A button, or you're just pressing A instead of X on Xbox, right, you can get into a tackle battle where they can win that tackle battle and break those tackles. But when you click on a dive tackle, he basically gets into a suction tackle animation where his legs fall to the ground immediately. He's going to have nowhere to go. So we look at the instant replay, boom, we're able to dive tackle and bring this guy to the ground very, very easily. And that's really the name of the game, right? Whether it's in the open field or it's in the backfield, you don't want to allow these guys to speed boost away from your defenders. And so the best way to do that is to control that with heat seeker assist and dive tackling. Heat seeker is going to make your dive tackles better, and you're going to be able to get these guys to the ground, not let them get away from you, and your overall tackling and defense is going to be a whole lot better. So really that's what it is, making sure you have freeform passing turned on with your pass lead increase on small, and then also making sure that you have heat seeker assist turned on so that you can dive tackle more ball carriers in the backfield and not let them speed boost away. Alright, so if you found those first two secret tricks helpful here in College Football 26, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. I break down College Football 26 tips and tricks for you guys every single day. You don't want to miss out on any of the content that I have. But if you want all 5 of these tips in a written form to save in your phone during gameplay, the first 2 that I showed you and the next 3 to come, go to the link down below in the pinned comment to join CFB University, where your first month's only going to be $1. It goes through all my written breakdowns for the month of May and beyond, and it's really the best way to fast track your learning. And again, you're never going to lose access to these tips because it's a written breakdown to save on your phone. What are you thinking? Join today, and let's jump right back into the video. Because next I want to break down how you can identify the blitz every single time and basically make it to where you're never getting sacked. Let me show you. Alright, so really what I'm talking about here is you're going to be able to identify the blitz very easily by simply looking at your play art. What you need to pay attention to is there's flame icons over the top of certain defenders on every single play. So on this play, we have this defender right here as a flame icon, and this defender right here, or excuse me, this defender right here as a flame icon. So for me, on offense, those are the guys that I'm looking at to see if they blitz after the snap. So pre-snap, I know, okay, these are the guys I need to look at right off the snap. If they blitz, they're probably going to come in free, like 75-80% of the time. So you know that you need to probably get rid of the ball in the areas that they're vacating. So what we're going to do is we're going to call any play. I see they're not blitzing, and so I know that I have at least some time to throw. Now, clearly sheds are a thing, and just like that guy instantly sheds my line, but that's not you getting screamed at. That's just your line being bad. And so, I mean, that's part of the equation too, but you see how now there's two flame icons, again, one over the safety that came down and then one over the linebacker. Right here, again, they both drop out, so I know I have plenty of time to throw, and I can just hit passes down the field to Ryan Williams, for example, and turn that into a big game. So really, this is going to prevent you from getting sacked as often as you do, because all you have to do is read those guys and then trust the fact that your line can actually block for you. Now, clearly you're seeing it. There's going to be times where a four-man rush can still really affect you, but right here, they both blitz, and one of them comes in free, and I made the read late, and that's why you get sacked. So it's like you need to be paying attention to those guys because you need to be getting rid of the ball in the areas that they're leaving. Again, right here, they both drop out, and so you have that window right there, just possession, catch that pass right up the seam. So it's like, if you're just trying to read these flame icons, again, both drop out, no, I got time to throw, hit my pass underneath. Always stepping up in the pocket is going to be important for you too, but I mean, taking sacks like sheds is nowhere near as bad as, you know, getting absolutely annihilated by a blitz that comes through the A gap, especially when you know it's coming or when you expect them to blitz. Right here, they both blitz. One of them comes in free. This time I flush the pocket, and I'm able to turn that into a touchdown. So I know the area that man left is now going to be open clearly, especially if they're in zone coverage. So bottom line here, you're reading the guys pre-snap that have these flame icons over their head. You're saying to yourself, okay, if they blitz, I know they're coming in free, so I need to get rid of the ball in the areas that they're leaving. When they drop out like this, you just step up in the pocket and try to hit passes right in between the zones and turn those into good completions. But especially when a guy walks down too, he's a threat to blitz, so just be aware of that. But start reading these flame icons, getting rid of the ball in areas that they're attacking when they blitz. Alright, and before I jump to those final two secret tricks that you're absolutely not going to miss here in CFB 26, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. Again, I break down college football 26 tricks every single day for you guys, and I'm the only one doing it right now on YouTube, so don't miss out on any of the content that I have. Let's jump right back into the video. Because the next thing that I want to break down is actually a glitched route that's going to allow you to score one-play touchdowns. Let me introduce you to the slot fade route. Alright, so really here we're going to have a slot fade route. Now, clearly, I need to point this out. This is a long developing route and a long developing play, so you need to have plenty of room between you and the end zone, alright? Because this ball is going to be in the air for a long time, and you're really going to need a lot of time to make this work. So what we're going to notice here is this is really great against press man-to-man coverage, just like they're going to be in right here. We're going to put Ryan Williams in a slot fade, and we're going to custom stem him up. Now, in order to be able to custom stem a slot fade, you first have to smart route it. So you have to press Y, then the receiver, and then smart route the receiver, right? So now, because he's smart routed, now I can stem it up. So you want to stem it up 2 times with the D-pad, just like this. And now, clearly, I would recommend having a real route concept built around this play. So maybe a mesh concept with a crosser, something like this. Excuse me. And so what you're going to notice right here is we're going to be able to hike this pass. He's going to get that weird bump animation, and then he's going to run over the top of that man for a huge gain or a touchdown just like that. Really, these two guys, the corner and the receiver, kind of strength on strength here with Alabama. But here's the key turning point, because you see this bump animation, cool, that's kind of like the corner winning the initial rep. But then as he continues to run up the field, you see how he's like a step above him right now, but the further he runs up the field, you see by now he's just continuing to outrun him, and that's because of the uniqueness of the slot fade, right? How, once he bends the route off and gets over the top towards the corner of the end zone, he starts to create a lot more separation away from that defender, versus like right here, I'll just put a shriek on the field, right? I'll just put Ryan Williams on a shriek, and you're just going to notice how that pass isn't going to be anywhere near, or well, I mean, I guess he still burnt him just because he's faster, but you still see how the DB is able to break that pass up because you're not able to put the ball in the exact spot to the corner of the end zone. So having a fast receiver certainly is going to help you out with this. Obviously, anytime you're playing against press man, but the slot fade is just going to help your advantage even more as far as getting over the top and scoring. So we're going to smart route the slot fade again. We're going to stem it up 2 times with the D-pad, and we still understand that if we get shedded or anything like that, we need to be ready to get rid of the ball. So you see it again right here. We have plenty of time. We let that pass go. We lob it over the top. And this is, again, why I say you need so much room on the field, because that ball is going to be in the air for like 50, 60 yards at a time. And you certainly need to be able to lob that pass over the top. So we go again, boom, lob over the top, easy touchdown, and we're able to score. So just the slot fade overall is a super unique, super effective route. Obviously, it torches zone coverage as well on the sideline. But when you're playing against press man, start incorporating this route into your offense, because you're able to see how kind of step for step right here. And then as he continues to bend the route off and over the top, the gap gets wider and wider, and it allows you to score these one-play touchdowns over the top. But that last secret trick that every single top 1% of player has mastered is actually making adjustments fast on defense. You need to be able to change up what you're doing on the fly really quickly, and quick adjustments is the only way to do that. Let me show you what I mean. Alright, so we're going to have a Tampa 2 base play right here, and they're going to be in trips. And this is the same thing that I showed you earlier in the video when we were talking about freeform passing, because when you run cover 2 against a trips formation, there's going to be a wide open hole, right? What we call it, a hole on the sideline for a huge hole shot. And it's just going to be easy every single time. We go with it again, how now we take the snap. Also, you could potentially look up the middle, to that Ryan Williams route. Sometimes it's open, but the hole shot is going to be wide open every single time against a cover 2 defense. And so when you're on defense, you can't allow that, right? So basically what I'm telling you is you can't run a cover 2 against a trips or a spread formation, because they could just throw 2 shrieks on the field and the outside receiver one is going to be wide open. So if I told you that and you came out in cover 2, you wouldn't be able to adjust your defense fast enough in order to get all the adjustments off, because what you would do is start the play on Jefferson, probably click, 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 and now I'm finally on him after 6 clicks, and now I press A, and now I look left stick up as an outside third, then I then I come here, I press A, and then I do inside third, and then boom, A again, curl flag. This is just too slow, right? And so by now, any decent offensive player has already snapped the ball, and they're already looking to, throw the next read, right? Even if you get all the adjustments off, there still might be guys open, because you're getting quick snaps. You're probably not on your correct user defender. And this is why so many of you guys complain that, hey, we don't have time to get these adjustments off. No, it's just because you're not doing it correctly. You need to start the play on Jefferson and stay on Jefferson the whole time. Make all the adjustments that you need from one central defender. So what we're going to see right here is we're going to press Y twice to open our secondary adjustments. That's going to open all of your DBs. Some formations have 4, some have 5, some have 6, right? And now if we press D-pad right twice, that's going to open our linebackers. Some formations have 1, 2, 3, or 4. This formation has 2. And then if we press D-pad left twice, that's going to open our defensive line adjustments. Some formations have 3, some have like up to 6, right? And so that's going to open that. So D-pad left twice, D-line, D-pad right twice, linebackers, Y or triangle twice, depending on your console, is going to open your secondary adjustments. And now once you understand that, and this is, again, you need to be paying attention. This is the most important adjustment and change that you can make to your defense. Now I can press Y twice, then press X, put him in outside third. Press Y twice again, press Y for the third time to click on my safety, put him in inside third. Press Y twice, press LB, and then put him in a curl flat. And now I have that cover 3 defense set up on the left side, and so now they can't just hike those verticals and throw the pass on the sideline again. And I've done it all from Jefferson. So if they were to try to quick snap me, I'm on Jefferson. I'm sitting here lurking this. We're taking away the whole shot on the sideline. We're taking away all of their routes, and I'm taking away the one guy that could probably beat me because I'm not getting quick snap and I'm stayed on the same player the entire time. So we go with it again. I'm gonna do it at full speed. Boom, boom, and boom. And now in under really 2 seconds, you have the defense set up. So yes, 2 seconds is enough time to make adjustments on defense as long as you're fast with them and know, what adjustments you're trying to make. And again, the best part is you're not going to get quick snap anywhere near as often because you're stayed on one central player. So again, quick recap: a D-pad right twice opens your linebacker adjustments. Sometimes you want to man guys up like I showed you as far as stopping RPOs, right? Sometimes you want to adjust your secondary by pressing Y or triangle twice, and then sometimes you might want to put your defensive lineman in like a vert hook or something like this, or a curl flat, right? And so you would do that by pressing D-pad left twice. So start working on your quick adjustments so that you can get all your adjustments set up on defense or one central player without getting quick snap anywhere near as often. Alright, so if you found any of those 5 secret tricks helpful here in CFB 26, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. I break down college football 26 tips and tricks every single day, and you don't want to miss out on any of the content that I have. But if you want all 5 of these tips in written form to save on your phone during gameplay so that you can always reference them, go to the link down below in the pinned comment to join CFB University, where your first month is only going to be $1. It's really a no-brainer. You're going to get access to all my written breakdowns so that you can save them on your phone for the month of May and beyond, and it's really the best way to start to understand the little nuances and secrets here in CFB 26. So what are you thinking? Join today. But if you want to see 5 tips to help your defense specifically here in CFB 26, check out this video right here. I'll see you over there. Peace.